Okay, this is basically a introduction video I'm going to be doing. Gonna start a channel, The Crafts Monkey, and what it's going to be about is mosaicing together with other people. I'm a novice. I've only been doing this for about a year now, and I find it really interesting. I can't paint, I can't draw, but for some reason I can do mosaics halfway decent. And always wanted to paint, but I just can't do it. It's lousy at it. But I found through mosaics, I can express the art that I like. And this was my latest one. It's still not quite finished yet, but it's getting there. And I've made many changes to it. That's something that we'll be going over, how you can change it. If you don't like something, it's very easy to change. And these are actually painted mosaics. All the pieces aren't painted, but some are. I found that by mistake because I couldn't find certain colors, so I thought, I'm just going to paint it. And the results to me were like, wow, I wish I would have started out like that. I just stumbled upon a bunch of tips that I'll be sharing. Hopefully you can share tips. And again, this is a video just an introduction to see how much interest there is out there. Comment below if you're interested, or subscribe if you're interested. We'll know where we're going to go from there, how many people are really interested in this, and hopefully it builds from there. And I'm going to be showing you some of the ones. The very first one I did, and then this is the very last one. And again, I'm just a novice. It's just something I like to do, and I think a lot of other people like to do this also. But you're going to be surprised at this paint and tile technique can get you pretty good results. And we're basically going to be using just floor tiles that we break. I'll have a video on that actually. Break them safely. And wall tiles, various wall tiles. I don't know if you can see those or not. There they are. A couple different color wall tiles. And some, and like kitchen backsplashes. Those are like the little, I used some gold color ones, some silver colored ones in there. You can do a lot with that. And there's just a bunch of techniques that I found that really, really helped me. So I'm going to show you the first one I did. It's not that great, but I'll show you where I started at. And here's some of the paints we're going to be using, just acrylics. You can get these at Walmart, pretty cheap. So it's going to be acrylic paint that I use. You can use a different paint if you want. Okay, this is the first one I did. Not that great. I mean, I like it because it's my first one, but it's supposed to be a desert scene, and the thing must weigh 50 pounds. Something else I learned, you really don't need that thick of plywood to do these on, to cut down on the weight. But that's fairly large. It's probably about like 2.5 by 3 feet. But I like it, and it has a special place for me because it was my first bigger one. I started doing a little bit smaller ones, and then that was my first big one. I'll show you a couple of the smaller ones I've done. Okay, there's one of the smaller ones I did first. One of the very first few I did. That's another one. They're okay. I give them about a C, maybe a C minus. And there's another small one I did. That was not too bad. Actually, these little ones are on my Etsy shop. I do have an Etsy shop they started last year. When I started making these, put them on there. There really wasn't that much interest. I only had them on there for a week or two, and then I put it in vacation mode. And I just actually recently reopened it up out of vacation mode because I'm just going to sell these for a few bucks. I'll probably keep lowering the price just to get rid of them. I've had them now for a year, and I'm ready to get rid of these. Then this is the second to the last one I did. And believe me, I made a lot of mistakes on this one. I've repainted different areas. I've took some of the pieces off, repositioned things, on and on and on. And but what's nice about it is, unlike a painting, you can just change things so easily. And again, we'll get into all that. And I'm sure there's tips you can share with me. But I like this one. Again, I find the good ones I really don't want to put on Etsy because really not about the money. But you can only have so many too. I mean, your whole house will be full of mosaics, and especially if you're doing these bigger ones. I like the bigger ones. Okay, now we're back to where we started. This is my latest, and it actually came from my wife. Bought this puzzle because she always liked this. So I thought, you know what, I'll do a mosaic on that. And again, it doesn't come out exactly. It starts to take a life of its own. You'll see how that evolves. It's kind of crazy. And you actually start thinking, you know, I kind of like this better than, it doesn't have to be an exact copy. It's your own. And so she really loves this. As you can see, she never even opened the puzzle. We have this hanging up in our living room. That one's definitely a keeper. So again, this is just an introduction. I want to see how much interest there is. If we're going to start with, actually, hold on here. Actually, with another puzzle that my wife's actually doing now, and I thought, you know what, I'll do a mosaic of that. This will be our first one. Or put suggestions in of a painting that you like or what you want to start out with. I think this one would be a good one to start out with, and it's not going to look like that when it's done. Probably it's going to take on its own shape, life, and who knows what it'll turn out. But working at it, probably turn out pretty nice. So again, leave a comment below if you're interested in this, or subscribe. And then I'll know, okay, there's some interest there, and we'll go from there. We'll have some fun with this. And my first video will be, after this one, obviously, will be how to make a cheap, easy tabletop easel. And it's not going to be that hard to do. I'll walk you through it, and if you don't want to go through the hassle, I'll put that on my Etsy shop. You can buy it for a few bucks, but it's really not going to be that hard to do. Just a few simple tools and a little bit of time. But I know a lot of people that's a hassle. I really don't even like doing it, but I'm not going to spend $100 on one either. So that'll actually be my first video, and then we'll get into doing the actual mosaics. And it's not going to happen probably for a week or two from now, just to see how much interest is generated, and then we'll go from there. So I hope you join me. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think we can learn from each other. I've certainly learned a lot in a year. I never thought I would learn that much that quick. It really progresses pretty quick, and especially if you have the tips ahead of time. That would have been real nice. So please join me. It's going to be called Let's Mosaic Together or something like that. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. So please join me. Oh, and there were two other small ones that I did. They were actually hanging up in my house also. I love these two. These are keepers too. I think they're adorable. And those were actually like midway after I was not a complete beginner, but getting a little bit better. I really like these two. All right, thanks again. And again, please join me.